Top of the Unhappiest Women by Zodiac Sign. Why do some women seem to attract suffering, disappointments, and trials from birth, while fate generously gives love, support, and success to others? Is it all about the zodiac sign? The answer is yes. There are signs under which women with especially heavy karma are born, with a soul that has passed through funnels of pain and betrayal. These are women whose strength is born from suffering. It is harder for them to love, trust, be truly happy. But it is through these trials that they awaken in themselves the inner magic that others can only dream of. This video is the top of the most unhappy women according to their zodiac sign. And not to judge, but to understand, to stop hiding pain behind a mask of strength. If you want to know why this particular sign carries such a deep emotional burden, stay until the end. Subscribe to the channel so as not to miss revelations that help you understand yourself on a new level. And write in the comments whether you recognized yourself or someone very close. This is not an accident. This is knowledge that comes only to those who are ready. The first sign is Aquarius. Aquarius woman is the one whose freedom has become her own cage. She does not live by the rules, but it is the lack of clear boundaries that deprives her of inner support. Her mind is ahead of its time. Her ideas do not fit into the framework of everyday life. Her views break the foundations. And in this world, where most people are looking for stability, she is looking for air. Only instead of ease, she gets loneliness. This woman's misfortune is not on the surface. She smiles, communicates, acts brightly. But her soul has existed for too long in a reality that no one understands. She can be the center of attention, but feels separated by glass. She can build careers, launch projects, inspire others, but at the same time, not feel inner warmth. Her misfortune is that she lives with her head, and the world asks for feelings. Her mind is cold and infallible, but her heart remains in the shadows. It is difficult for her to build close relationships, because she does not tolerate pressure. The slightest intrusion into her personal territory causes rejection, and this lack of understanding on the part of her partners makes her even more closed. She does not know how to ask for help. She can be in despair, but at the same time say that everything is fine. She saves others, but drowns herself, quietly without a sound. Her suffering is a constant clash between the internal and the external. She knows that she is capable of much, but the world reacts with restraint. Her proposals are perceived as strange. Her feelings do not fit into the norm. Her way of loving, through freedom, is often perceived as cold. And then she distances herself even more, as if not a person, but an observer from another dimension. The Aquarius woman suffers when faced with routine. Everyday life is a prison for her. She needs movement, inspiration, meaning. But life does not always offer scale. Sometimes there remains everyday life, monotony, predictability. And then she goes out, like a flame without oxygen. She can be outwardly successful, but inside, devastated. Because what matters to her is not what she has, but what she feels. And she is afraid of feelings. Her spiritual loneliness is not the absence of people, but the lack of understanding. She can live with someone for years and feel like a stranger. Her depth, her originality, her internal value system, all this repels those who seek simplicity. Her independence is frightening. Her intelligence causes envy, her unpredictability, irritation. And as a result, she finds herself in isolation, which she chose not consciously, but by force. She dreams of a person who will not limit. but there are few of them. And even if someone comes close, she will not let them in right away. Her heart is guarded by her mind, and the mind is rarely wrong. She checks, tests, observes, and while others build, she analyzes. As a result, everything collapses before it even begins. An Aquarius woman can be a genius, a conductor of ideas, a creator of something new. But her pain is in the lack of reflection. It's as if she lives in the future, but her heart asks for the present. And this is what makes her one of the most unhappy. Not because she is weak, but because she is too strong to break and too complex to be understood. The second sign is Gemini. A Gemini woman is the one who knows how to laugh when she wants to scream. She has an inner craving for freedom, movement, new sensations, but it is precisely this that becomes her trap. Her mind is sharp, lively, multitasking, but this is also the root of constant frustration. She wants a lot at once, changes her desires faster than others have time to get used to her, and ultimately remains between choices that were never fully made. The misfortune of a Gemini woman is not in the lack of love or money, but in the constant feeling that she is not there, not with those, at the wrong time. Her mind is always somewhere ahead, and her heart is stuck in the past. Her reality rarely coincides with her expectations because she dreams quickly, sharply, and deeply, but gets a life in which she must adapt to routine and restrictions. She does not know how to be alone, but she quickly becomes cramped next to someone. It is easy to fall in love with her, but impossible to keep her. She is difficult to understand, but even more difficult to satisfy. The Gemini woman is a constant movement in search of happiness, which slips away like smoke. Even when everything is good, she finds anxiety where there is none. Even if she is loved, she wonders, for how long? She changes her environment, cities, topics, relationships, but inside there remains fatigue from the fact that a place has not been found where she could simply be. Her brain is overloaded, and her soul is always looking for someone who will understand, but will not limit. And this is the paradox. She reaches for understanding, but is afraid of attachment. She strives for ease, but encounters emptiness. Her unhappiness is not in troubles, but in the eternal internal race that she has arranged for herself. She thinks too quickly, feels too much, and is too often alone with her unstable soul. Her strength is words, and her weakness is the inability to stop the internal noise. The Gemini woman can have everything, but still not feel satisfied. Her unhappiness is invisible. It hides behind a mask of activity, fun, and irony. She jokes when it hurts. She is silent when she screams inside. She leaves when she begins to feel too deeply, because she does not believe that someone will stay close for real. Her broken heart is often not noticed by anyone, because she is used to playing the role of a strong and independent, although inside she wants to be understood and accepted. But every time someone tries to get closer to her, she moves away, because she is afraid, not of pain, but of losing her freedom. And so she remains between two worlds, lonely when with someone, and empty when alone. The third sign is Capricorn. From the very beginning of her life, a Capricorn woman faces an inner feeling that everything is harder for her than for others. Not because she is weak, but because an uninvited mission has been placed on her shoulders since birth, to prove her strength, endurance, and fortitude. She rarely allows herself to relax or just be. And this is precisely what becomes her greatest source of unhappiness. In a society where ease, openness, and the ability to have fun are valued, she chooses the path of asceticism, self-control, and self-sacrifice. She does not complain. She is silent. And inside this silence, everything accumulates: loneliness, resentment, and an eternal struggle with herself. One of the main reasons for her unhappiness is a distorted idea of love. She does not believe that love is possible without conditions. Her inner voice constantly tells her that first she must earn attention, prove her usefulness, withstand the test, and then maybe someone will pay attention to her. But more often than not, instead of attention, she gets indifference or exploitation. A Capricorn woman often finds herself in a relationship where she is perceived as a convenience, a support, like a machine that never breaks down. And she endures. Not because she does not know how to leave, but because she believes that leaving is weakness. And she does not allow herself to be weak, even in her thoughts. In the professional sphere, she achieves a lot. She is often respected, appreciated, invited to responsible positions. But there is a catch here too. This success does not bring her joy. It is perceived as the norm, as a necessary part of her life, but not as a reward. She does not know how to stop and say to herself, "I am great." It always seems to her that she needs a little more, even higher, even stronger, even more flawless. And in this race, she wears herself out, losing her health, sense of time, a vivid perception of the world. She turns into a project, a schedule, a list of tasks. And the woman somewhere inside remains forgotten, frozen. Another deep reason for her unhappiness is the inability to ask for help. She feels that admitting fatigue is an admission of failure. So she grits her teeth, smiles automatically, and says, "Everything is fine." But there is no normality. There is a chronic inner emptiness that she does not fill, because she considers it part of reality. And with each passing year, this emptiness becomes heavier. Sometimes she tries to close it with deeds, money, purchases, external achievements. But all this does not give results, because real pain lives deeper. Even in adulthood, a Capricorn woman often feels misunderstood. It is difficult for her to formulate in words what she wants, because she has lived in survival mode for too long, not pleasure. She is afraid of change because she is used to living in control. She is afraid of attachment because she knows how painful it is to lose. And that is why she is often alone. Not because she is not loved, because she herself does not allow herself to be loved just like that, without feats, without achievements, without efforts. Her misfortune is a closed system, where she is both a victim and a warden. She builds walls herself, strengthens them herself, suffers from loneliness herself. And this is the paradox. A Capricorn woman is able to withstand everything except her own happiness, because she is not used to it. It scares her with its ease, and therefore it seems unreal. The fourth sign is Taurus. The Taurus woman looks like a symbol of confidence, stability, and inner comfort. But behind this mask, there is often a deep and heavy loneliness. She knows the value of herself, her feelings, her time. But precisely because of this, she lives with the feeling that her true value is rarely seen. She gives a lot, sincerely, consistently, patiently, but receives in return a discrepancy. Her misfortune is that she does not know how to accept less than she deserves, but life often offers exactly less. The Taurus woman suffers not loudly, but quietly. She does not tear, does not make scenes, but when the internal pain reaches the limit, it simply leaves forever. She is drawn to stability, but reality constantly tests her strength. She invests in relationships, in her home, in her loved ones. but her kindness is taken for granted. She endures longer than others, hopes more than others, and breaks more quietly than others. Her misfortune is that she rarely receives from life the emotional return that she is ready to give herself. She can be beautiful, reliable, desirable, but feel unappreciated. She can be married and feel lonely. She can be rich and feel an inner emptiness. The Taurus woman does not need much. She needs honesty, attention, and stability. But this is what often slips away. She does not ask. She waits. She does not demand. She proves with actions. She does not show pain. She processes it until it accumulates to the boiling point. And when this happens, the world collapses not only inside her, but also around her. Her unhappiness does not scream, it accumulates. Over the years, she learns to be strong not out of desire, but out of necessity. She stops believing words, she analyzes actions, and she often sees coldness, indifference, and calculation in them. Her kindness becomes a weapon against herself. She builds, saves, holds on when others have already given up, but is left with destroyed expectations. Her misfortune is that she does not know how to be half. She needs everything or nothing. And most often she gets half. Feelings, actions, presence. She is faithful when everyone leaves. She stays when it hurts. She supports, even if she is on the edge. But who will support her is a big question. The Taurus woman does not break from one blow, but she can crack from 1,000 small ones, and no one will notice, because she is the one who holds others. Her pain is too silent to be understood right away. Her loneliness is too stable for anyone to consider it a tragedy. But this is where her deep, slow unhappiness lies. The fifth sign is Leo. A woman born under this sign is taught to shine from childhood. She absorbs the expectations of others like a sponge and strives to match the picture that society imposes on her image. She is praised, admired, expected to be confident, strong, and a leader. But in pursuit of external brilliance, internal support is often lost. She learns to endure pain, hiding it behind a smile, and over time, she ceases to distinguish real joy from playing to the crowd. One of the main reasons for her unhappiness is the inability to be weak. It seems that the world leaves her no room for vulnerability. In any situation, she must be collected, proud, unshakable. Even if everything inside is collapsing, she keeps her back straight and continues to move forward. But she pays for this with loneliness, not because no one wants to be around, but because she herself does not allow herself to truly need someone. In her personal life, a lioness most often attracts men who admire her image, but do not know how to see the essence. She is often perceived as a trophy, as a bright woman next to whom you want to show off. But when it comes to support, understanding, spiritual depth, the partner is lost, and she is left alone with an internal scream that no one hears. A strong woman does not cry. This is a myth that she was forced to believe, and she suffers because she cannot admit she is in pain. Work becomes an arena for her in which she must win again. And if it does not work out, this is perceived as a personal failure. She does not allow herself to give up, even when she is tired to the limit. Workload, responsibility, control over everything, a familiar state. Rest causes a feeling of guilt. Admitting weakness, fear. Therefore, internal tension accumulates, turning into chronic dissatisfaction with herself and sometimes into psychosomatics. A lioness experiences particular pain when she is ignored. If there are people around her who do not notice her efforts, do not thank her, do not appreciate her, she feels devalued. For her, recognition is oxygen. Without it, everything inside goes rotten, and even the brightest victories become tasteless. She can achieve everything, but not feel joy if she has not heard a simple thank you or has not seen admiration in the eyes of loved ones. A Leo woman's friendship is often one-sided. She gives a lot, invests, organizes, cares, but in difficult times, she often finds herself without support. Her friends consider her strong, invulnerable, self-sufficient, and they do not even guess how deep inside there is melancholy from the fact that no one asks, "How are you really?" There is always a lot of movement, bright events, projects in her life. She knows how to ignite others, inspire, lead, but when the spotlights go out, silence remains. And in this silence is the real her, tired, exhausted, without a mask. Being a lioness is often about the obligation to shine, not about choice. This is why many women of this sign are unhappy, because they were never given the right to just be. She does not ask for help. She does not expect it. She has proven everything to herself and given everything. But if there was a person nearby who could see in her not only strength, but also pain, not only pride, but also fear, the lioness could breathe a sigh of relief for the first time in a long time. For now, her misfortune is in the impossibility of being ordinary. She was taught because that weakness is defeat, and that means she will continue to walk silently with her head held high, even if everything inside screams about how much she lacks warmth.